Lighting perspective, the shot also presents a difficult challenge insofar as there are setups for inside the tank clean, inside the tank with algae, outside the tank in the air, outside the tank in the baggie moving indoors and outdoors in several sets.
We used a tool called Pisces, which simulates the behavior of the fish. We would set up a bunch of basic parameters where the school would be, how fast they should swim, and then simulate and do iterations of that until we got something we liked. The number of fish that we would simulate would vary from 5 for a little small school in the reef to a couple thousand for some of the big hero schools and background schools. There's a lot of simulations where we would put a lot of fish in and then just kill the ones that were misbehaving. So basically, hundreds of CG fish died to make this movie.
You wouldn't know how to get there, would you?
What you want to do is follow the EAC. That's East Australian Current. Big current. Can't miss it. It's in that direction.
You wouldn't know how to get there, would you?
What you want to do is follow the EAC. That's East Australian Current. Big current. Can't miss it. It's in that direction.
You wouldn't know how to get there, would you?
What you want to do is follow the EAC. That's East Australian Current. Big current. Can't miss it. It's in that direction.
Well, we needed to figure out how jellyfish moved for one, and that was kind of what this was all about. And this was also to figure out give them something to figure out all of the dynamics down below with.
We began by taking simple spheres as stand-ins for jellyfish and sprinkling them in the volume and pointing a camera that direction. We had no idea how complicated the path was going to be from that attempt at a simplistic view of the set to fully realizing the set with all the jellies moving all different directions, the camera flying through that in 3 dimensions, with no reference for ground plane, ceiling, or walls, the characters interacting with the jellies being see-through, and the whole thing together became quite a mess to untangle.
Quite a Pandora's box, this little guy right here. But it was worth it because it's beautiful in the film. It's a beautiful scene.
One of the most important elements to make the tank look believable in the set that it was in was the use of reflections and refractions, looking from outside in and inside back out. We took both videotape footage, stuck our heads in tanks, stuck our heads outside tanks, and stared at the fish in the tank downstairs to really get a sense for how the image gets warped and distorted by the glass and water interface. The effect itself, the physics are well understood. To do it in computer graphics cheaply is hard, and especially to cheat it so we can control it, which is one of the key things about it. And so we weren't able to just duplicate physics directly. We need to put controls in to adjust it and fudge it.
Where are you from, Gil?
Oh, you wouldn't have heard of it, shark bait. It's a rough part of the ocean.
Where is the rough part of the ocean?
Use your tail. Your tail. It's called Bad Luck Bay. Place is sort of shaped like a human skull.
Cool.
But I got brothers and sisters. Let's see, there's Marco, Polo, Lester, Linus, and Lulu.
Lulu?
That's her name. Don't wear it out.
Hey, it's 5 o'clock.
Bet the bandages come off today.
Oh, they might not. Who knows this?
Of course they will. It's Friday.
Gil's right. All major revelations happen on Friday.
Marco, Polo, Lester, Linus, and Lulu. Well, hello there, said the captain. And who might you be? He asked. Marco, Polo, Lester, Linus, and Lulu. Lulu, he chuckled. That's my name, said Lulu. Don't wear it out.
Brothers and sisters. Let's see, there's Marco, Polo, Lester, Linus, and Lulu.
So
Don't
they
wear it out.
tugged, when suddenly, whoosh, out came a giant
It was a
swordfish.
swordfish, okay? The mean kind.
it has
Long
a
blue
blue
stripe
stripe.
down its side,
So
one
they
more
actually
inch, and
had good
You
luck
wouldn't have heard of
fishing.
it, shark bait. It's
Out
called
of Bad Luck Bay.
Bad Luck Bay. It's a rough part of the ocean. It's sort of shaped like a human skull.
So what happened after I got stung?
I just told you. You had gotten lost in the jellyfish forest, okay? And I had to go find you. Are you still with me? So after I found you, you got stung pretty bad. Okay, quick recap. You get lost, then found, then stung, ouch, ouch. Now did you get all that? You still don't look like you were listening. Because you know when your eyes go past me like that, I have a hard time believing you're listening. Oh.
Dude. Jellyfish. Intense, man.
Dory, this is Crush. Crush here actually knows a whale.
Yeah, we all know the whale, man. He is to be known for the whale. He's a very wise dude, man. Right now, the whale's like out there, man. Feeding, you know? Food for the mind. In the soul. Whoa. Did you see that?
So this lamp of a lighthouse is an actual lighthouse that exists on Thatcher Island off of my hometown of Rockport, Massachusetts. And it's called the Twin Lights. There's one on each side of the island, and there's actually one on each side of the lobby. There's 2 lamps. This is a historical building that is in my hometown called the Motif Number 1. It's in the harbor, and a lot of people come from all around just to paint it. So I put a painting of it in the lobby. This is the Aeolus 3. It's the name of my father's sailboat, and I'm embarrassed to say that it was the 11th hour when I suddenly realized I had not put that on any of the boats in the movie, so we changed one of the boats at the last second and got it in there. I think I would have been disowned had I forgotten that. Lobsters are abundant where I grew up in New England, and I know we're all the way down in Australia, but I just couldn't resist letting the lobster have a Massachusetts accent, thus using the term wicked.
It's like wicked dark down there. You can't see a thing. How's it going, Bob?
Joseph Eckers is one of our story guys, and he did research on this part of the world.
Relax. Take a deep breath. Feel yourself floating. Imagine the scent of lavender.
Okay, we're back, Dory.
Okay, we're still breathing.
No, we're not breathing now. We're back.
Balance the chi.
Dory, the chi is fine. We got normal chi now.
We are lost, lost. Can you give us directions? There. That should do it. And I just realized that we're being videotaped now. So, and when I say we, I mean me. So this is perfect. Don't worry, whales don't eat clownfish, they eat krill. Oh, look, krill!
Walt Disney Pictures presents a Pixar Animation Studios film, Finding Nemo.
There. It's all right. It'll be okay.
When you go to make computer-generated water, one of the problems is that water is really not one thing. When you look at a scene with water in it, there's the water surface itself, and then there's spray, which is really just small, loose particles. And then there's a transition zone where if you watch a wave as it comes up, it'll come up and break into little tiny particles, little blobs that still look clear. They still look like water, and then they fragment more and turn into spray. It's the believability of that transition that's the hardest thing to do right in computer-generated water. And the reason is when we model something with particles, the particles we use are bigger than the size of a spray drop, just because of the computational requirements. If you really wanted to do a shot like the whale tongue shot, you would really need billions of particles of water, but we can't do that. We can at most do millions. And so we have a lot of tricks that go into taking this fairly coarse-grained description of the dynamics, turning it into a surface as the surface moves around, and then cheating the transition in various ways of the surface from a solid surface of water breaking down into spray and then splashing off.
We'll get a shot like this out of animation, right, that has no water, just the characters sort of holding on, and the director will tell us, oh, I want like a whole ton of water at the beginning, and it'll sort of ramp down over the progression of the shot. And so the first thing we do is we start out with these things that got dubbed ball pit renders because it looks like, a big Chuck E. Cheese ball pit. Problem is, sometimes water doesn't do what you want, right? And so we showed this to the director, and he's like, well, I don't think he could talk, if he was under that much water. And then once we get something that we're happy with at this ball pit level, then we'll go and we'll actually try to form a mesh out of it. This sort of takes all the particles, and then where there's a lot of particles, or where it really should be a solid mass of water, it gives us the solid surface that we can use. And then everywhere else, you get these particles. And we're pretty happy with how this looks. It's out of his face now, so you can actually read his facial expressions. And then it'll go to shading and lighting. They'll do this like fancy sort of transparency, and they'll actually make it look like water. And then that's sort of what you end up seeing.
I found his dad!
A lot of people don't realize that seagulls actually speak in other languages than English.
Mine. Meow. Mien. Mine. Meow. Bogano. Main. Moi. Shelly. Moya. Haken. Thikamu. Miro. Moi. Monument. Lomsa.
In a big action scene like this pelican sequence, we'll oftentimes build much more footage than we'll end up using in the final film.
I think this was 3-to-1, approximately, for footage that we created and then the shots that were actually used in the final film.
What we actually did in the scene is, we knew the basic action that needed to happen. Nigel needs to take off with Father and Dory in his beak, swoop into the water, and then fly around being chased by the seagulls. And what we did was we basically blocked out that entire action flying around the harbor and then filmed it lots of different ways. Big wide shots, tracking shots, shots moving through the air, shots locked on the ground, panning, seeing them go by. And we just really went to town building a huge amount of footage. And then we found the final scene in the editing room.
This is Nigel. He's a pelican, this guy. And figuring out how to make this guy fly is a mechanical thing because we're looking at like these live action clips to see, well, how does the real bird fly? And then you want to plus the mechanics and you want to put in some character. You want to say, well, what is this character all about? Well, pelicans by nature are very kind of awkward creatures. They're incredible, but they're very awkward when the way they move, and they're very kind of gangly. So I thought, well, what if I put some overlap into this thing and really make it a little more cartoony? You kind of come from the mechanics and then you take caricature